They called themselves Sisters with Voices, and for a brief, electrifying slice of the 1990s, that name felt less like a moniker and more like a broadcast signal, one that cut through radio static, mall loudspeakers, pajama party cassette decks, and MTV countdowns with the power of a hurricane disguised as harmony. Coco's piercing soprano, Taj's confident mid-range, and Lelee's velvet alto braided together like gospel on a top 40 mission, and they moved units, millions of them, before they were old enough to rent cars without a co-signer. But chart dominance and platinum plaques don't always translate into happy endings, and SWV's journey from Brooklyn church steps to global stardom to near bankruptcy remains a masterclass in how the music industry can crown you on Friday and bury you by Monday morning. The story begins on the rough-edged streets of Bedford-Stuyvesant, where Cheryl Coco Gamble, Tamara Taj Johnson, and Leanne Lelee Lyons sang in choirs long before they learned to harmony stack over New Jack Swing beats. None of them came from money. What they had were powerful voices, a shared dream, and a fearless mother, Coco's mom Tiny Gamble, who shoved demo tapes into the palms of anyone wearing headphones in a Manhattan elevator. Most scoffed, but producer Brian Alexander Morgan didn't. In 1991, he auditioned the trio inside a cramped rehearsal room, recording their a cappella take on En Vogue's Hold On. In one scratchy pass, he heard The Future, a group that could go toe-to-toe with En Vogue while still sounding like three girls you knew from gym class. RCA's imprint, later folded into Epic/SME, signed them within weeks. Label execs wanted an album in 9 months, lightning speed, but the sisters were hungry. They cut It's About Time in half-paid studio blocks around New York, sleeping on control room couches between takes. 1992's radio climate was clogged with boy band crooners and gangsta rap debuts, yet SWV's breakout single Right Here elbowed its way in, helped by a Teddy Riley-produced Human Nature remix that looped Michael Jackson's voice like a divine cosign, when the follow-up, Weak, soared to #1. One on the Billboard Hot 100 4 weeks in a row, the trio leapt from opening acts to headliners almost overnight. By early 1994, they'd sold 5 million copies worldwide. At the time, the best-selling debut by an all-female R&B group. But platinum shine cast shadows. Their contract, like most first deals in the era, paid pennies on the retail dollar for every CD sold at $16.98. SWV might see 53 cents split 3 ways after recoupable expenses. Managers whispered that the group could renegotiate after album 2, so they kept smiling through the exhaustion. 300 shows in 18 months, jet-lag meals of Doritos and ginger ale, a laundry pile bigger than their royalty reports. In unguarded moments, the sisters snapped at each other. Coco, the primary lead, bristled at being singled out by press as the voice, while Lelee and Taj resented vision board comparisons to En Vogue's glamorous couture. They wanted to be known for streetwear swagger and church girl grit. Epic played peacemaker, publicly. Privately, the label strategists saw SWV's independence as a liability. Unlike prefab pop acts, these women voiced opinions on song selection, wardrobe budgets, even publishing splits. When they demanded co-writing credit on the next project, the label hedged, threatening to delay the release if the trio didn't play ball. Exhausted, they relented, signing off on a sophomore LP New Beginning that dripped with polished synths and outside writers. Still, the music slapped. You're the One, a sultry mid-tempo burner steeped in hip-hop drums, went gold. The Missy Elliott-penned Can We lit up the Booty Call soundtrack, but behind the radio spins, friction intensified. Lelee learned her royalty advance was barely covering rent. Taj discovered she'd earned less touring than she would have in an entry-level corporate job. All three hired separate business advisors, an early symptom of a group rattling at the hinges. By 1997, Epic sensed fatigue and pressed for an album packed with marquee cameos. The result, Release Some Tension, featured Foxy Brown, Lil' Kim, Puff Daddy, Missy E40, and Snoop Dogg. A guest list so crowded SWV risked sounding like featured artists on their own record. The label spent marketing dollars on hip-hop remixes rather than the trio's signature harmonies, hoping rap cross-pollination would recapture crossover audiences. Initial sales were strong, but long-tail momentum sputtered. Fans said the group's DNA had been diluted. Meanwhile, Coco, exhausted and feeling boxed in, secretly signed a solo deal with RCA's gospel division. When Taj and Lelee learned about it via the Source rumor column, the backstage air froze colder than an arena AC unit. They fulfilled tour dates without speaking, each riding separate vans to radio stations, each answering interview questions with smiles that cracked at the edges. Then the industry winds shifted. By 1998, Destiny's Child and TLC were rewriting girl group rules with splashy video budgets and tabloid-friendly story arcs. SWV, flanked by contractual disagreements and interpersonal distrust, quietly disbanded without a farewell press release. Coco's 1999 solo debut, Hot Coco, arrived to modest reviews but underwhelming sales. Taj, always the realist, left music altogether, enrolling at the University of Tennessee and later competing on CBS's Survivor to pay bills. Lelee sank into depression severe enough that she contemplated suicide, at one point pawning gold records to keep lights on. Their story seemed destined to join the heap of 90s cautionary tales. Another group devoured by a system built on disposable icons. A decade later, nostalgia threw them a lifeline. Promoters booking 90s R&B package tours realized reunion buzz equaled ticket sales. In 2005, SWV performed a one-off in Japan, testing onstage chemistry and public appetite. Screaming fans sang every lyric, streaming numbers for Week spiked. That convulsive love convinced them to try again, but resurrection required more than vocal scales. It demanded therapy. Working with a life coach, the trio unpacked years of grievances. Coco apologized for diva standoffishness. Taj admitted jealousy. Lelee confronted her battle with self-worth after gossip outlets labeled her the cute one with no solos. Their reconciliation became the backbone of WeTV's 2012 reality show SWV Reunited, a warts-and-all docu-series that let cameras capture studio bickering, manager firings, and tear-soaked breakthroughs. Viewers devoured the authenticity, and the timing couldn't have been sharper. 90s R&B was enjoying a renaissance in Spotify algorithms. Capitalizing on the buzz, SWV released I Missed Us in 2012, a project that leaned into lush harmonies over trap-adjacent drums, bridging eras without pandering. Critics applauded, and the album scored a Grammy nomination for Best Traditional R&B Performance, a poetic nod to what might have been if label politics hadn't derailed them 15 years earlier. Tours multiplied. Essence Festival, 90s block party circuits, international club dates where crowds belted choruses louder than the front of house mix. Taj penned a memoir about surviving bankruptcy. Lelee launched a motivational brand for single moms. Coco, transparent about anxiety, became an advocate for mental health awareness in Black churches. But peace remained a moving target. Social media snark often reignited dormant tensions. A subtweet here, a Facebook Live vent session there. Still, each flare-up ended faster than before, therapy muscles flexing in real time. The pinnacle of their comeback arrived May 2021. Verzuz's SWV versus Xscape. Two legendary girl groups shared one stage, live-streamed to hundreds of thousands. Mid-battle, sound techs fumbled Coco's in-ear monitors. Panic flashed across her face, but Taj and Lelee closed ranks, singing her parts until she steadied. In that moment, the internet witnessed sisterhood forged in pain, but tempered by endurance, and comment feeds flooded with praise. Vocals volcanic. SWV never left. Protect these women at all costs. Today, SWV tours selectively, prioritizing wellness over grind. They control their masters, book shows sans label approval, and split profits equally. Lessons hard-earned from contracts that once cost them millions. They mentor rising girl groups on ownership, offering spreadsheets and cautionary anecdotes the industry never provided them. Coco records gospel EPs between dates. Taj hosts fitness live streams. Lelee manages branding workshops. And though mainstream radio seldom spins their new material, Week still racks up hundreds of millions of streams, syncing onto Netflix rom-com soundtracks, Gen Z TikTok thirst edits, and NBA halftime montages. So did SWV truly fall, or did they simply step off a hamster wheel that would have ground them down to dust? In a business that often discards female artists once teenage demographics age out, surviving it all is victory. Their plaques may have gathered dust in pawn shops, but their influence echoes in every tight-harmonied hook of modern R&B, from HER's layered vocals to SZA's churchy melismas. And their cautionary economics, raid your contracts, retain your publishing, guard your mental health, now circulate in industry workshops where fresh talent learns to be both artist and CEO. SWV's saga isn't a neatly trimmed behind-the-music arc. It's a jagged skyline of soaring highs, brutal dips, and stubborn second winds. It reminds us that talent alone can light the rocket, but business, ego, and wellness decide whether you orbit or crash. Three voices from Brooklyn proved they could dominate charts. Three women proved they could survive each other, the label Labyrinth and the internet age. In the end, that longevity, imperfect but unbroken, might be the sweetest harmony they ever sang.